Hello, everybody. It's me, Ross, and welcome back to another edition of Meet the Opposition. This week, I'm joined by Gary from the Stacey West blog, the man that covers all things Lincoln City ahead of the clash in League One at Portman Road. Gary, thanks for joining me. Lincoln City, 18th in League One. It's not been a good season for you guys. Give us a lowdown on what's been going on.
Thanks for reminding me, Ross. No, thanks for having me on. Brilliant to be back. It's been a challenging season for us. I think expectation was sky high after being 90 minutes from the Championship last season. Obviously, we lost in the playoff final. We had a tough summer, players coming, players going, a bit of a turnover, not as much as you'd expect. But unfortunately, the players we lost were very good players. As in George Grant and Teo Eden both left. We had loan players like Brennan Johnson and Morgan Rogers. I mean, Brennan Johnson's tearing up the Championship now, and the players that came in didn't settle quickly. The real dip in form happened kind of post Halloween, November and December, where we had at one point a full 11 of players out. Now, Sheffield Wednesday have kind of said they've had that recently, but when you've got a squad of 28, 29, it's not so bad. When you've got a squad like ours of 22 senior pros, it was tough, and we were turning up at games with like 3 people on the bench, and one was a goalkeeper and 2 of them were under 18s. So we had a real tough time. The forwards that we brought in, Dan and Lunderloo on loan from Southampton, was not good enough, or certainly didn't get up to speed quick enough. Tom Hopper was injured. We ended up going with an 18-year-old kid called Freddie Draper, who's now on loan at Gainsborough Trinity. He was starting for us before Christmas. Couldn't buy a goal, getting beat week in, week out. And then at Christmas, it kind of changed. And our form, I think if you took our form probably from 2-2 draw with Cheltenham just before Christmas till now, it's probably upper bottom half of the table rather than lower bottom half of the table. So we still have a tendency to shoot ourselves in the foot. We've kept 2 clean sheets all season. You will score. It's guaranteed, 100%. We just, and that's an inconsistency at the back. We've struggled at the back and all sorts. So on our day, we can beat anybody in this division. And if you look at the top 6 or 7, Rotherham haven't beaten us. Sheffield Wednesday have failed to beat us in 2 games. MK Dons, we should have beaten them in both games. Scored 4 goals against them, was 2-0 up and ended up losing 3-2. We've beaten Oxford. We've won away at Wigan. And then you look at the bottom 4 and they've all beaten us. And it's a tendency to struggle against the poor sides that's really hurt us.
Yeah, and on Saturday, a massive win against Sheffield Wednesday. They're up there trying to fight for the playoffs, but a 3-1 home win. You mentioned the other, big wins. I said you can get wins against the teams above you, but below you can't buy a win, which is, of course, frustrating as any team. I'm going to bring up the team from Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday. This is the team. One player that won't be playing because he got injured was the goalie, Griffiths. Any other names we should look out for? And are you going to? You said you don't get clean sheets. Is that going to now be another fear?
Well, first of all, it's the first time we've played 3-5-2 this season. Michael, I think, was looking at tightening up a little bit. We lost to Gillingham last Saturday, and we were absolutely woeful. I mean, Gillingham are a poor football side who will be playing League 2 football next season, but we just didn't threaten them. So he's changed it up. He's gone 3-5-2. We've got good players to play in the wing-back position. Brooke Norton-Cuffy there, who's on loan from Arsenal, is an absolute star. He reminds me a bit of Paolo Wanchop. He's a big, leggy player. He kind of strides forward, but he's got a big, big future. He's been playing for their under-23s, 18 years old. On the other wing-back was Morgan Whittaker. Now, he's a right winger. He played left wing-back for us on Saturday. Did really well. But what we had with Aoma, Poole and Walsh playing the 3 centre halves, it gave our midfield a little bit of freedom to express themselves without the fear of having to kind of get back and do the work. And that's not to say they're lazy, but the way that we play, lots and lots of passing, you inevitably lose possession. So McGrandles and Lewis Fiorini in particular, who's on loan from Man City, had his best game in a Lincoln shirt on Saturday as well. So we're almost stepping into this kind of new era of in terms of a formation, which a lot of Lincoln fans really liked. But it's easy to like a formation when you win a game. The thing that Lincoln City do very well is play against teams who want to play their own game. So if Ipswich at home, obviously you're going to implement your game plan. I think we might do well against that. When Doncaster or Gillingham or Shrewsbury come to Sincil Bank and go, we're going to stop you playing, that's when we tend to struggle. So, but it's outside of that 11, we've got players like Liam Cullen on loan from Swansea, could quite easily come in. We've got players like Anthony Scully, who's, I think, in terms of goals and assists, is our main man. Not sure where he fits into a 3-5-2. So there's plenty of options becoming available now. Lasse Sorensen hasn't played much for us either this season. But I would imagine that Michael will stick rather than twist on the back of the weekend's result.
And of course, the main man up front, John Marquis, of course, scored 2 against Sheffield Wednesday. He's going to be on a high. Should we look out for him? He's a player who scores at this level. You know, he was at Pompey, he was at Doncaster. He can score goals.
Yeah, he can. 5 goals, I think, since arriving from Portsmouth in. It's a glorified loan deal. I think it's a loan deal in all but actuality, purely because poor Pompey wanted him off the wage bill. Very hard worker. I had a misconception with John Marquis that he was a Moisa type, that he was, if you feed him, he'll score goals, but if you're not playing well, he's isolated. He's not. He works tremendously hard. What we liked on Saturday, and it's the first time we've seen it at Lincoln City for a long, long while, was we had the 2 up top in Marquis and Hopper. Now, they didn't particularly form a partnership, but when one went off and did whatever he did, Tom Hopper's the best defensive centre forward in this division. So when he's off clearing headers out of the area, Marquis is in the centre forward position. So we didn't look as isolated. We didn't look as kind of devoid of options when we got into the final third. So it's going to be interesting to see if that dynamic carries on. Tom Hopper's only just come back to full fitness after being out for most of the season, another injury. So we now suddenly have an embarrassment of riches up front with Anthony Scully to come in now, with Ben House, who we signed from Eastleigh, who's looked very, very lively as well. So it's exciting. But yeah, if you keep an eye on Marquis, it might be Hopper that surprises you. If you keep an eye on Hopper, it might be Marquis that surprises you. So yeah, we'll see.
We shall see. And of course, there's one name that's going to be on a lot of Town fans' lips, is Teddy Bishop. He's going to be returning to Portman Road. He may not start, but I'm sure he'll feature at some point. He'll be wanting to prove some doubters wrong. Of course, Paul Cook's out the door, so he doesn't need to prove him wrong, because he's gone pretty much shortly after he got rid of Teddy Bishop. But how's he been this season? He's scored a few goals, but he's not been featuring lately.
No, it's been hard for Ted because he's never really got going this season. And that's not particularly because of injuries. The formation that we've played has meant that we've only really had room for one attacking midfielder, and we've had Luis Fiorini playing the central role, or Chris Maguire has also been there. So we've seen Ted on the left wing. Don't think he's a winger. He's got the ability to beat players. He's got that little bit of skill, but I don't think he has the pace to be a winger, certainly not to hit on the counter-attack. We've seen him play 7 or 8 games at right back. I don't know if that's unusual for him as Ipswich fans. And he was really, he had, do you know what? He was solid as anything at right back. It was from right back where he scored his brace against Cheltenham. He was doing really well up until a couple of weeks ago, when it may surprise you to hear he picked up an injury. So he was out for a couple of games. Norton Cuffey's come in and has literally just gone, right, well, I'm playing right back till the rest of the season. And he's really grabbed it. So Ted's in a position now where it's hard to see exactly where he's going to fit in. He's got the ability to fit in, but so often we see him do very, very well for 45 minutes. And then very, very poorly for another 45. And Bolton away a couple of weeks ago was exemplified that perfectly. He was outstanding in the first half. Blocked a shot on the edge of the area, which he took in a part of his body that no man wants to take a football. Doubled over, received treatment, disappeared in the second half. So I think he might get minutes from the bench, but I wouldn't expect him to start.
Okay, then we shall wait and see. Away form is always what I like to see and hear. What's your away form been like, and what can we expect from a Lincoln side away from home?
Our away form is our only saving grace from what has been a very disappointing season. We've won at Sunderland, we've won at Wigan, we've won at Plymouth. We should have won games against Bolton away. We should have beaten MK Dons away. When we go away, we play with a little bit more freedom. I think there's an expectation on any team at home to turn it on. And when you're a team like we are that play a lot of football and knock the ball about, teams press us high, then we begin to panic and the atmosphere changes at home. I think you saw that when you came to our place. You got the goal. Didn't have to do a lot else after that because it's the pressure's heaped on. Away from home, we don't get that as much. So some of our best performances, absolutely 100%, have been away from Sincil Bank. The Sunderland one sticks right out in my mind. We won 3-1 there. We did a great job on them. It was a tactical masterclass from Michael. He identified the fact that they play a lot through the midfield, midfield. But the midfield pressed high, so we let their centre halves have the ball. There was huge, great big gaps. Sunderland couldn't do what they wanted to do. When we go away, we expect to win football games. When we're at home as a fan base, we don't expect to win football games. So if you were to give me Ipswich at home or Ipswich away tomorrow, I'd pick Portman Road all day long without a doubt. But we won't change our approach. We won't come and think, right, we've got to stop this player or that player getting the ball. We'll come and play our football, let you play your football, and may the best team win. I kind of like that. But at times it also shows a little bit of naivety when you're at home, and like I say, it's Doncaster or Gillingham, and it's the brick wall at the back, and you sat there for 80 minutes going, oh God, not this again. So it'll be a great watch. It'll be a great watch for both sets of supporters.
There's going to be a big crowd at Portman Road. Part of our Pack Up PR campaign. 25,000 expected. How is that going to be for Lincoln coming down to Portman Road? You say your way form is great. You're saving grace. What can we expect from Michael Abbott's side going to Portman Road, and how are you feeling about this one?
I think the 25,000 is an interesting addition to the game, to the narrative of the game. Certainly in front of big crowds. As I said, we tend to do well. I mean, it was our biggest home league crowd on Saturday for 40 years at Sinsel Bank, but both sets of fans were vocal. I think it's very different when one set of fans is very vocal and the other set of fans is very, very quiet. And when we came to your place in the FA Cup, sorry to bring it up, but I have to, we brought 5,000 and there was, another 12, 13,000. We were very, very loud. So it was a different dynamic. But again, we've got some players, I think, who thrive on not having the support, kind of being the barrack. I mean, Chris Maguire, I won't say what he is because it's a word you couldn't possibly broadcast, but that's what he is. He loves to irritate. He loves to wind up. He'll love to try and get your fans hating him, and so that might play into our hands. We shall see. We've played in front of a couple of big crowds. We've not done badly. We went to Sheffield Wednesday and drew 1-1 there, because again, you can turn a big home crowd quickly. So if we were to come to you, Michael will want to hit early, hit hard. We scored after 3 minutes on Saturday, and there was 2,000 Sheffield Wednesday fans to silence. If we can come to your place, 10, 15 minutes, get one, and then just frustrate you for the next 10, 15, that 25,000 soon turns against you rather than for you. So, but similarly, if we concede early, there's a chance that we could crumble as well. So it'll be a great spectacle.
I think so too. Well, Gary, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me. Any other notes before we go? And why not? Give me a prediction. What are you going for?
I got asked for a prediction. I did a Sheffield Wednesday one last week. I was asked for a prediction, and I said, my head says we'll lose, my heart says we'll draw, and we won 3-1. I would like to think that we're worthy of a draw. I think that we can get a draw tomorrow night. I wouldn't be bold enough to say that we will win. But just as an aside, I'll say these are the sort of games that, whether we're 18th or whether we're 6th in the table, these are the sort of games for me as a football fan you live for. That's not to say Portman Road away is our cup final, but I'd rather be coming to Portman Road away than Woking or Dover. It'll be a pleasure to go there. 25,000 fans. We've got a team playing football the right way. What's not to love? What's not to love?
Indeed, I look forward to if you are going to the game, make sure to follow the game with us at Portman Road, and we shall see you all there. Bye-bye for now.